The glow that could kill you. In a guarded vault in Paris, scientists still handle notebooks written over a century ago wearing protective gear. The pages emit invisible radiation so potent they are stored in lead-lined cases. Touch them without care, and the energy from a long-ago discovery could burn through your skin. Those dangerous pages belong to one woman who refused to let the world tell her no. This is the story of Marie Curie, the scientist who unlocked the hidden fire inside atoms and paid the ultimate price for her brilliance. In the late 1800s, Europe simmered with change and contradiction. Steam engines roared across continents. Cities glowed with new electric lights. Yet vast empires still crushed old nations under their boots. Poland had vanished from the map, carved up and ruled by Russia. In Warsaw, children learned Russian history in Russian classrooms while their own language and heritage were forbidden. It was a world that punished curiosity, especially from girls. Maria Sklodowska entered this tense world in 1867. From childhood, she possessed an almost supernatural memory and an insatiable hunger to understand how things worked. Her father, a teacher stripped of his job for his Polish loyalties, kept scientific instruments at home. Maria would spend hours examining glass tubes and measuring devices, imagining the invisible forces they revealed. Poverty pressed on the family, but ideas remained free. School showed her both promise and cruel limits. She excelled, answering every question flawlessly even in the enforced Russian tongue. Yet the university in Warsaw barred women entirely. Higher education in science was a door slammed shut because of her gender. Maria felt the sting of that rejection deeply. Dreams of unraveling nature's secrets seemed destined to remain fantasies. But she refused to surrender. With a tight group of like-minded young women, she joined a clandestine network that became known as the Floating University. Lessons moved from one safe house to another, sometimes a cramped kitchen, sometimes a hidden attic, always one step ahead of Russian authorities. The risk was constant: arrest, exile, ruined futures. Yet in those stolen hours, Maria's mind came alive. She studied fiercely, building a foundation in math and science that would carry her across Europe. A pact with her sister Bronia gave her purpose. Maria would work as a governess, sending money to support Bronia's medical studies in Paris. Years later, the favor would return. For nearly 5 years, Maria lived in other families' homes, teaching their children by day while studying advanced texts by night. Isolation weighed on her. Hunger was a frequent companion. Yet she pushed forward, her letters to Bronia filled with questions about physics and chemistry. She was preparing for a future she could barely glimpse. In 1891, the train to Paris carried a determined 24-year-old woman ready to claim her place. The Sorbonne welcomed female students, a rarity that still drew skeptical glances. Maria became Marie. She rented a tiny, unheated garret where winter winds whistled through cracks and water froze in the basin overnight. She survived on bread and tea, sometimes fainting in lecture halls from malnutrition. None of it stopped her. She attended every class, took meticulous notes, and mastered French scientific terminology. In 1893 she finished physics at the top of her class. The following year, mathematics placed her near the very top again. The quiet immigrant who had once studied in secret was now outshining nearly everyone around her. Fate introduced her to Pierre Curie, a reserved but brilliant physicist who shared her fascination with the invisible world. Their courtship unfolded through deep conversations about science and life. They married in 1895. Marie wore a practical dark blue dress she could wear again in the laboratory. Their honeymoon was a simple bicycle journey through the countryside, but their true shared life began in a shabby, leaking shed behind a school. Damp walls, extreme temperatures, and poor equipment defined their workspace. Most scientists would have walked away. The Curies stayed. A discovery by Henri Becquerel had caught Marie's attention: certain minerals emitted mysterious rays even without sunlight or chemical reactions. While others dismissed it as a curiosity, Marie sensed something profound. She began systematic experiments, testing every element she could find. Her work revealed something astonishing: the rays came from inside the atoms themselves, an atomic property independent of chemical bonds. She named this phenomenon radioactivity. The laboratory became a place of quiet obsession. In 1898, the Curies announced two new elements. Polonium honored Marie's beloved Poland, a defiant gesture toward a nation still denied freedom. Radium, far more powerful, produced a mesmerizing blue glow in the darkness. To obtain even a speck of pure radium, they processed tons of pitchblende ore by hand, stirring, boiling, filtering, and crystallizing in their miserable conditions. The work was backbreaking. Chemicals burned their skin. Dust filled their lungs. Yet night after night, the faint blue luminescence from their samples lit the shed like captured moonlight. It felt like magic. It was science revealing secrets the universe had hidden for billions of years. Success arrived with global recognition. In 1903, Marie shared the Nobel Prize in Physics with Pierre and Becquerel. She became the first woman to receive the honor. The world began to notice the woman who had overcome poverty, exile, and prejudice. But joy proved fragile. On a rainy afternoon in 1906, Pierre stepped into a busy Paris street. A heavy horse-drawn wagon rounded the corner too fast. He died instantly. The loss devastated Marie. She retreated into grief, raising their two young daughters while struggling to find meaning in a world without her partner. The Sorbonne offered her Pierre's professorship. She accepted, stepping into the lecture hall as the first woman to teach there at that level. On her opening day, she continued precisely from Pierre's final lesson, her voice steady, the room hanging on every word. It was an act of love and courage that moved everyone present. Marie channeled her pain into relentless work. In 1911, she earned a second Nobel Prize in Chemistry for isolating pure radium. No scientist before or since has won Nobel Prizes in both physics and chemistry. Yet even then, the French Academy of Sciences rejected her membership, citing her gender. The old barriers persisted, but Marie kept moving forward. When World War I exploded across Europe, she saw a new way to serve. Understanding that wounded soldiers needed rapid diagnosis, she developed mobile X-ray units nicknamed Little Curies. She personally drove these vehicles to field hospitals near the front lines, often under dangerous conditions. She trained nurses and technicians while shells fell nearby. Her efforts helped save more than 1 million lives by locating bullets, shrapnel, and fractures that surgeons might otherwise have missed. The woman who had unlocked atomic secrets now used that knowledge to heal the broken bodies of war. The years after the war brought both honors and quiet suffering. Marie continued research and teaching, but the invisible cost of her work accumulated. Decades of handling radioactive materials without proper protection took their toll. In 1934, at age 66, she died from aplastic anemia caused by radiation exposure. The very rays she had discovered and named had slowly destroyed her bone marrow. Her notebooks, still dangerously radioactive today, serve as a haunting reminder of both her triumph and her sacrifice. Marie Curie's legacy transformed our understanding of the universe. She proved that atoms are not indivisible solid spheres but contain immense hidden energy. Her work laid foundations for nuclear physics, cancer treatments, and countless medical technologies. Polonium and radium took permanent places on the periodic table. Young students worldwide still learn her story and the elements she revealed. Yet beyond the science stands something even more powerful, a woman who refused to accept the world's limits. Born under foreign occupation, denied education because of her gender, forced to study in secret, surviving poverty and devastating loss, she still changed humanity's view of reality itself. She showed that curiosity, paired with extraordinary perseverance, can overcome empires, prejudice, and personal tragedy. Her story challenges every one of us. When doors close, when grief threatens to crush you, when the world says your dreams are impossible, will you find your own hidden laboratory and keep searching for the glow? Marie Curie did. And because she did, the world is brighter, more curious, and more healed than it would have been. What invisible force inside your own challenges is waiting to be discovered? The answer begins the moment you decide not to stop looking.